Good morning. I'm going to quickly go from one slide to the next just to make sure that as I am transitioning from slide to slide, it's appearing. Today, I'm going to talk about how to create immersive experiences as part of your online marketing plan. The one question I get from anyone whenever they hear I'm involved with interactive media is, what can I share online that will get people to advocate what I have to say? And that, at the end of the day, is what you're going to learn and what this will be your takeaway from joining us in our Google Hangout. So I'm going to transition to this slide very quickly. I'm going to stop sharing it just to make sure that it actually finished on this particular slide. I'm sorry to do this. It's just I need to make sure that it's actually coming on whenever I switch these screens here. And this is me. I'm a little close, sorry. I'm Valeska. I'm the co-founder of Rivet Video Trivia Games. And the reason why we created Rivet was for this reason, was to make it very, very easy to create share-worthy content. So here you go. I want you to remember the 4 I's as I go through this entire presentation. It is important to involve your audience, first of all, get them engaged in what you have to say, which is second, the influence. Who can you reach out that will influence others, not only to share with what you have to say, but what you're talking about and the type of content you're creating will influence others to want to share it with others. Third is interactivity, the kind of interaction that's taking place when others are engaging with your content. And last is intimacy, that there is some sort of emotional connection being shared with what you have to advocate for and how strongly it ties in with their own personal agenda, what they're going through, their needs, etc. That's your return on engagement. So overall, in this overview, we're going to talk about how we're going to improve your content development cycle, which will affect in turn your marketing cycle and your ROI. And prior going into returning on your investment, we're going to cover the return of your engagement. So we will cover these content creation strategies that will convert your traffic to data. And last is understanding what algorithms and gamification techniques affect your content. So here with the ROE, we have the social media outreach. Excellent, this is still going. Social media outreach. And a lot of times you're going to ask yourself, or your clients will come to you and say, I just want to know I exist. I just want them to know I'm out there. So that particular statement will call for, well, we need to increase then your brand awareness if that's all you're going for. And here are the particular metrics you can use in order to track what you have to say. You want to look at the number of organic conversations that are created based on what you are sharing out there in social media. The number of mentions. You want to review how many are coming in. The retweets, how many people are taking the time to retweet what you have to say. If you're using a hashtag, if it's trending within your local area, and of course then globally. If you're using Pinterest, which I'm not going to go into at all, I just wanted to mention, if you're a Pinterest lover, you look at the number of repins, and of course there's so many more metrics as well, but I'm just going to mention that. And as far as Twitter and Facebook impressions, the beauty of this is that Facebook not only shows you how many views you have if you directly upload video, but it's also nice to see when you post pictures and such how many impressions it got. Same thing with Twitter. Any tweet that you put out there, it's excellent to see not only the number of impressions, but look at what time you're posting your posts, because if you see it higher at 12 o'clock versus 6 a.m., that says a lot about your followers and how many are engaging with your content and at what time. That will definitely set the premise as far as scheduling goes for you. Last and foremost is the increase in followers after you deploy, and then naturally the conversion that comes after, which will be your ROI. Here you have your influence. What are your goals and your client goals? Well, here I want customers. Okay, well, if that's what you're saying to yourself or your clients are asking you, so what type of activities can you create that will lead to these types of return on engagement. So now we're talking about the involvement. How are you going to involve them in this process? So you have getting them to sign up for workshops, Google Hangout registrations, inviting them through Facebook as far as the invitation. What I love about the Facebook invitation is that some opt to add it to their calendars automatically. Same thing with Google Hangout. So it's a nice way for people to remember what they signed up for. So especially now we live in a world where our social calendar and our business calendar and our family calendar is all filled up. So any type of tools you can use that will help people to remind them what the commitments they made will be great. Watch my TV show, how many people watched it and how many actually tuned into any types of radio interviews or MP3 files that you are sharing online. So here you have the ROI aspect of it. How many website referrals came from these outlets? So you have LinkedIn, you have your Facebook, you have your Twitter, you have all of these tools that are available to you to connect with others online. It makes life so much easier, and being able to maximize your time from wherever you are in order to stay in touch, which is key. And this is the main thing. It's not so much just post and share whatever it is that's going on in your life. It needs to be in such a way that will influence at an emotional level, that will get people to drive to actually want to comment with what you have to say or share with what you have to say. And that at the end of the day is what we're engaging and what we're talking about here. So now you see with Google Hangout, what I love about this tool in particular so much is the live interaction that takes place when you invite others to be a part of your Hangout, and how it deepens the social media relations. Because all of these women that you see here that I actually engaged in this Google Hangout, I met them all through Twitter, and this was a beautiful way for us all to come together and actually talk to each other in person and share thoughts and ideas and even advice with what's going on with our entrepreneur world. Here, I wanted to showcase a particular case study about tagging, because there are way too many folks out there that still to this day, it shocks me that they're tagging others just to get their personal agenda of what they want to share with others. So if I were a brand saying, hey, I have these pants that I would love for you to give away, the first question you need to ask is, how are you going to go about and sharing my particular product with your fan base? Because the last thing you want to do is irritate others and being a part of a particular campaign that they did not sign up for. And this is a perfect example of someone who has 22,000 followers and suggested, hey, go ahead and tag 3 people and get the chance to win these pants. Okay, well, I don't even know what type of metric or how she's even capturing, how she's going to pick that person to win those pants. But at the end of the day, you're asking for people to tag others that did not ask to be tagged, is what I'm getting at. So all of a sudden I'm tagged for these pants. I'm like, I don't even like these pants, first of all. Second, why am I being tagged? And who is this person that's giving away these pants? It's just too many questions. I didn't opt in for this. So I would say irritate more so than actually make it a successful campaign. And something you need to look at when you're running any kind of campaign is how the traction looks like within the first hour, because it certainly drops off after 3. And this is a perfect example of how you saw 86 likes within the first 2 hours, 101 at 3 hours, but then 10 hours later, it was at 129 likes. At the end of the day, 89 comments were made. And when I tracked all the comments, 261 people were actually tagged, because some people are just going to comment like, oh, these pants are so cute. So they didn't officially tag. Some people tagged 1 person. So I wanted to make sure exactly how many people were tagged within 10 hours of launching this particular tagging contest. And it turned out it was just a 0.006 conversion percentage with someone who has 22,000 followers. I'd say that's not very impressive. So if you see here with flipping the script, someone who had 2,000 followers and creating a video contest, a video quiz, trivia quiz, he experienced 400 registrations within the first hour. We're skipping the whole tagging. We're not even asking to play. He was sharing this fun content, again, going back to share worthy content, and everyone just came on board and wanting to prove that they are knowledgeable about this world. So at the end, this is what you want to strive for. And not only that, but what was even better is that they actually gave up their data, their information, their email address, their name, are they female or male, just to play this game to prove within their community that they are very knowledgeable about this information. And not only that, what I'm going to go into next is the community. They all know each other. So that's why they were willing to say, hey, it's so-and-so, because they all know each other. So it's a nice and beautiful tool that they were able to use to stay connected. So let me actually show you an example of what it was that they were playing. So I'm going to go ahead and switch screens here. So you're going to see me for a hot minute. And then I am going to share an actual quiz. Because like I always say, with Rivet, you got to play it to get it. And I have that particular screen open. So that is what I'm going to click on in order to change. So here we have a fashion channel, the Battle of the Fashionistas. So this is a beautiful example. If you have a community, let's say you own, well, let me just play it and then we'll jump right to it. Let's see, the latest fashion trends for women.
Color blocking, wearing 2 or 3 bold colors all together. Trust us, if these designers have any sort of say, bright bold colors are going to be the next big trends in fashion. A little scared to go so bright and bold? No problem. Take a note from Marc Jacob.
Did you hear what kind of expression she used when wearing 2 or 3 colors? It's called color blocking. I'm just going to do 2 questions and that's it. I'm not going to go through the entire quiz.
Joy. So the first one is chevron. And in just kind of a mini definition, it's basically the zigzag design that you see all the time in clothing. More so, I see a lot of it in interior decorating. So
the zigzag design, she mentioned chevron. And then you see the top scores of this quiz, how many points they got. And this is where now it's driving the community to want to engage with each other. Here you have the code, what you can share on your website, so you can embed it for free and then create your own. Let me get out of this. So you can create your own particular quiz. Now let me get back to my presentation here. I just want to make sure that it's actually showing my, yeah, I see. Let me select the other screen for the presentation. Hello again. It's right here. So there's your questions that I have for you. Did you see how this particular video quiz tapped into your decision-making skills, your attention, and the emotion? What did you feel when you had the right answer versus the wrong answer? So going back to flipping the script when it had to do with the extreme martial arts community, what I wanted to highlight, look at the number of quizzes played. They didn't just play once out of curiosity. They completed the quiz. He did not have any sort of giveaway for this community. And they returned to play additional quizzes. So as each time he deployed a different quiz, they came back to play just to prove to others that they're very knowledgeable about this particular content. And that's where we go into the rock and metal. If you find that you have an audience that's really into that type of music, that it goes back to creating content that really matches your audience. You have here the Battle of the Fashionistas that we just shared. If you own a clothing store or that you see people walking in, what's driving them to actually, what prompted them to walk into your store? What is their need? Do they have an upcoming business meeting? Are they having a date that night? What is going on in their lives that's getting them to walk in? And that's the type of content I would immediately jump on board and creating for them. If it's dating tips, if it's business tips, or even travel destinations, if they're traveling abroad and they just, want to revamp their closet, there you go. You have here a mompreneur advice channel, which is all about being a mom and at the same time running your business. Again, content that is truly catered to your audience and what you know is going to love what you have to say and share. Now, earlier we were looking at the fashionistas, the Battle of the Fashionistas channel. Now we're looking at a Teen Talk channel. You see on the upper right, if you like this channel, we also integrate with Facebook, so people actually go ahead and like your Facebook page. You have here the description of what this channel is all about, what can they win if they were to play this game, and then who's actually the sponsor behind it, so that there's always a call to action. And then, of course, the leaderboard on the bottom, and then the quizzes. So in this case, we had an orthodontist who wanted to truly talk and cater to his community about his preteens. So if you're focused on that particular niche, you should jump into talking about music, extreme sports, cars. That's the kind of content they're going to enjoy, not only engaging, but also sharing. So with that in mind, we'll use the content from his channel to create it into a don't text and drive game. So it allowed users to not only watch the content that they had to answer, they had to, on the right-hand side, engage with the text that was coming at them at the same time that they were trying to play the game. This was a way to increase awareness how preteens are creating a bad habit of texting, and pretty much highlighting the fact that they're great at multitasking and they're truly listening to what is being said. So this was a nice way to put them to the test on if they're really good at multitasking at the end of the day. So you'll see here that you have participation points. We were not trying to encourage for them to do well. We were putting it again in perspective that it is truly difficult to answer a text or maybe they can answer the text, but it's really hard to answer the questions correctly when you have to really pay attention. So there's participation points with this. And then as you can see, the opportunity on the bottom right to either announce the giveaways, or if you want other sponsors to get on board to be part of what you're advocating for and monetize your campaign, that's another way to go about doing this. Within 40 days of launch, he appeared not only on the front cover of his local magazine within his area, which is the key thing he wanted to do, was raise brand awareness and letting people know that he was opening this practice, but he appeared on news outlets. The actual media showed up and they interviewed him at his practice to talk about this whole don't text and drive game and what he was doing within his local community. So as you can see, it goes back to truly advocating the social good. That's the angle he wanted to use in order to buzz about his campaign and the type of content he was going to create surrounding that. It was, sharing tips about don't text and drive, types of applications and technology you can use for your phone. All of the content also was complementary to this particular game when sharing online what was going on. Here you have, again, what I was saying, matching the look and feel of your content with your community and what they love to engage with. So this is the social media Trinity, as someone coined it during social media week here in LA. I loved it. They talked about the social media Trinity encompassing three things: large conversation, where you have people either at the birthday parties or during dinner outings talking about your campaign. What's going to happen? They're going to hear about it, and it's going to draw them to either look on their phones and Google it, or go back onto their computers and look up what it is you are advocating for. At the end of the day, that is what you are trying to accomplish, is getting people to check out what you have to say and talk about what you're saying. That's the organic conversation, and then tying it all in with the sentiment. It needs to draw truly from the emotion of getting people to want to truly advocate what you have to say, if it's in a positive way or a negative way. I mean, I know this whole Donald Trump election thing is crazy, and it's definitely, you know, a lot of people, again, they strongly feel negative about it, but guess what? They're talking about him. And at the end of the day, that's what is giving him the publicity. Some people complain about the Kardashians and why are they still so relevant now in this age? Well, again, it's that strong sentiment of people talking about them. And anyway, that's a whole other topic of why they are still relevant. But at the end, that's what we're looking at, is how do people feel positive or negative about this. So Facebook, what truly plays well on your Facebook? Again, Facebook recently acquired Oculus for billions of dollars because they are going to take how you tap into other people's lives in a very virtual reality perspective. So we're moving from pictures to videos to now wearing these headsets that allows you to tap into real time. So if I'm a mother of 3 boys, so if I'm out there on the playground with this device, it's almost like my mother feels she's there with the grandchildren as well, as they're running up to me, sharing if they found a bug, whatever the case may be. Do live in a reality where reality shows are successful because people are nosy. We live in a world where if we're stuck in traffic and there's an accident on the side, we're going to rubberneck and look and what's going on. So as long as our nature is to tap into what is going on with other people's lives, the success of virtual reality is only going to be much higher. So something to consider, why immersive experience is such a key buzzword right now, as far as how you're going to incorporate that into your marketing and looking at these types of strategies into the future. And you're dealing with millennials. Everyone grew up with games. That's just what the world that they live in. They're very tech savvy. So all of that needs to be put in play when you're reaching out to this audience, as everyone has evolved in using technology and embracing technology in their lives. How your content looks like on the mobile devices. All of those are the types of tools and content and, you know, angles that you need to take when you're making these types of adjustments. So back to this, what trends on Facebook? People love seeing what they're familiar with. And when I say that, it kind of jumps into this whole thing right here with when you're opening a store, for example. Over here, a lot of my friends attended this particular workshop because it was very, very fun as to what the theme was. It was relevant to making waves. How are your kids gonna make a difference this summer? And an achievement award to tie it all up. But the fact that it was everyone within the community that knew each other and they're being tagged. And hey, here's pictures of the winners. Of course, we got the talent release forms. But what I'm getting at is the shareability is much, much higher because it's, again, faces that everyone are familiar with, tying in, what is going on as to what they're advocating for. Doing real time, having people on the sidelines immediately, not only generating tweets for you and getting video for you and pictures, and immediately turning them into social media, again, share-worthy content right then and there, if it's the hashtag, etc. So that's what I wanted to share very, very quickly about the importance of, that's a positive way to tag people because they're actually there, versus the other tagging contest, you're getting a curveball thrown at you. Like, where's this coming from? And then, of course, absolute shock value always goes viral because of that sentimental feeling that I was talking about earlier. Again, with the 4 eyes, the intimacy, how that creates that emotional connection to get people to talk. And then updating the profile pic where you are actually in it. It is so hard to accept friend requests when it's maybe a picture of your pet or your child or of a landscape, because people change over the years, especially if it's someone I knew from high school. I mean, I know I look pretty different compared to how I looked when I was 100 pounds, so the difference is make sure that you somehow are in your picture, in your profile. I mean, it's something so simple, but I noticed that anytime somebody updates it, it trends very, very quickly on Facebook. A lot of people tend to start liking it, and then that's what shows up on the newsfeed. And that's what I'm getting at here. What's happening is you post a picture that, or maybe even a post, just a status update that you feel is important, but why isn't it trending? Well, again, it goes back to people only see what others are liking and commenting on, and that's what's going to appear on the news feed. Not what you recently post, but more so who is engaging with it, what is creating that conversation. That's why there are some things that you may post that you don't understand why that is having a lot of activity versus the other ones. Techniques I noticed that work is uploading directly versus using third-party software. For example, Instagram integrates with Facebook. I notice my stuff trends much, much better when I actually do it directly into Facebook versus any other types of third-party software. I like third-party software because, of course, you need the reporting mechanisms. You need to see how this data is working or not for you, and who's following you, and the metrics as far as the times of when things are at its peak. So the next thing is versus when someone tags me versus when I personally upload it. That's something else too. I notice it trends much better when I do the uploading versus someone just tagging me in it. Although, anyway, that's another topic in itself. It's good if other people are tagging. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying if you really want to get the message out there, doing it yourself really weighs heavier. And like I mentioned earlier, the first 24 hours is where you get to see the level of engagement of what people have to say. So here's the cycle that we've been covering. You want to listen to and also understand your buyer's persona, your audience, before you start deciding on these theme and topics. Like I mentioned earlier, if it's the travel destination, if you own the clothing store versus dating tips, if you're finding that your audience is more, single folks that are getting ready to go out on a date, or if they're more business oriented. And then you would have more business tips. You start the process of creating your content, you promote, and then after you measure and evaluate, it's very, very easy to repurpose your content. Hence why Rivet was created, because any content that's out there right now on YouTube, you can easily just take it and convert it into a trivia contest very, very easily without having to create it yourself. Where things have shifted now is that it's a big turnoff when people are like, register, 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 and there's absolutely no other type of interaction or conversation taking place about your event. Like, did you have a 10-minute Google Hangout to give one tip about what you're going to share at this event? Did you invite a couple of your prospect attendees to your Twitter chat, for example, to see if they have some questions about what it is that you're going to share at this event? What type of conversation did you incorporate into your social media strategy before you start requesting people to register? Because some just come out strong and are like, register, 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 or please tell your friends about this, please tell your friends about this, and here's a link to my event. It's just too salesy. So everything has turned into the emotional connection. How are you making them feel as part of this process? What is it like, the experience like in engaging with your content? And then last and foremost is interaction. Are they interacting with your brand? And also, can they tangibly interact and tangibly feel what you have to say? And again, the trivia contest is not only that they're interacting with the questions and they have to physically answer them, but it's the interaction as far as seeing their friends on the leaderboard and seeing who is playing. So over here is now the call to action. If you're announcing every week who is the #1 winner who gets to receive $45 off for your next event, there you go. You're giving people reason to return to not only your channel on Rivet or your trivia contest on your website. Again, you got to give them reason to check in with you. And then, most importantly, and not only on the upper right hand side, you see that the Facebook like is also incorporated to increase your likes on Facebook or your Twitter followers. And then you see you have the website URL across the top. You have let's say an app that you want people to download, if it's a game that you created or some sort of app anyway in general, or an event that you have coming up, you want to create that call to action for them to RSVP. I mean, they're already engaging with what you have to say. It's like, hey, don't forget, this is what I have going on. But it's not so much in their face, it's more indirect. And that's what it really comes down to, is being a little indirect. But importantly, to have your call to action items on your material. And then here we have the city hall where they were giving away a round of martinis. But I will have to say, you have your audience that absolutely love giveaways. But what I truly see over and over again, what draws people with these contests is when they can actually, and again, when we're saying interaction, they can tangibly see who within their community have engaged. Okay, so that is so key when you're tapping into your community or to your niche. For the most part, they all know each other, so that's what will create the success of the campaign. So here is some stats for you. 65% go ahead and click on Facebook like, 40% share your trivia content, 13% will inquire about your product or service, is what we've seen. They go ahead and click through to learn more about if it's a website registration. Over here, she had Ticino had a particular campaign where for $2 they can try a tea without caffeine, but has all of the health benefits that will give you more energy. And then 50% we see on Rivet return to the actual channel to see if you have another contest, basically another video trivia quiz to challenge them with. So here you see how the game reminds people to return and also to challenge their friends to play. You have to give reason for people to share your content. That is the key thing here. So what happens now? We have the conversion taking place. How much data did you gather? That's what I mentioned earlier, website registrations, online accounts actually opening up, app downloads, ebook giveaways, people signing up to opt in for your newsletter. Review these conversion rates. How many people in turn then requested more information? Now we're in the ROI space here. So here are other ways you can plug in your trivia contest. The beauty is not only do you have to do it online, you can even do it here offline at events. You can host live trivia tournaments that I showed earlier. You can have even team up, with here's a mall, run a literacy campaign. We had 3 reps, each enlisting 20 readers per hour, because the goal was for 1,000 readers, the mall was going to donate $1,000 to a nonprofit organization. So as you can see, you can team up with your local businesses and even nonprofit organizations to build your campaign. And then here you have a speaker who, after her speaking engagement, was providing a MAC giveaway for those who actually ranked in the top of her quiz. So here's how gamification fulfills your event goals. It's with engagement, buzz, and the impact that it makes them remember your product or service. Again, top of mind awareness. And I wanted to share this very quickly as far as video production, because not only is it costly and time consuming to build it, and I'm all for it. I've done this. It is a very fun process, but it is very time consuming. And the beauty, again, when using our Rivet platform, it automatically integrates right now with YouTube on the free side, but if you want to connect with Brightcove or Vimeo, we can do that as well. But at the end of the day, with all of this in place, you have a way to create a quiz very, very quickly without having to go through the creation process of doing the video production side of things. It's all about leveraging so that it's very, very quick to get it launched. So here is how you will create a quiz. And there's 3 different ways. It could be cognitive awareness, meaning what shoe did you see at the book cover for Spy School? If you notice, the author for Spy School, he always has a different colored shoe on the character on the cover. It's always a blue character, but the shoes are different. That's cognitive awareness. It's not so much just paying attention to what is being said, but also what's being shown. So that's a nice way to play up the trivia contest. Second is, are you a trivia expert? So for example, as a movie buff, if you're into Back to the Future, You show a scene where you actually see the flying car. That's the question. What is the name of this type of flying car? Oh, the DeLorean. But they didn't say it. It's just more like you just know it. So you just show the scene to kind of remind them what is about to be asked of them. And last, and the most popular, is the watch and learn format, which is what I love about this, because not only are you being tested for your cognitive awareness, your memory recall, but also educational. It's very educational, because you truly need to watch, listen, in order to answer the question, which in turn, you're learning something new. And that's the key thing. And what's nice about creating these quizzes is that they're SEO friendly. It actually falls into the title tag and the tag description that you need in order to rank in the search engines. You have here step 2. For example, if your theme is named that monster truck, it'll automatically populate that as the keyword in order to do a search of videos. Again, this is pulling from YouTube. And also, I want to reiterate that we can pull from any other video source that you want. If you want to upload your own videos onto our server or onto your server, we can integrate it at that level as well. But you can change the keywords. It doesn't have to be named that monster truck. You can easily delete that and just do a search for monster trucks. Or if you want to look particularly for grave digger, you can. And then it will pull up once you click go. And you can preview. You pick which particular video really fits what you want to talk about. And then you go into the editing process, which is step 3. You have this blue bar here that allows you to pick the 15-second soundbite as to what you want to get across as far as your message. And then you create the question, which, as you can see, it says 100 characters. Again, the reason why these characters are very limited is that you have 30 seconds to answer the question, so it can't be too long. Then it just doesn't make sense, because it's just too many words that they have to read in order to answer the question. And then you enter the correct answer, and then you can enter up to 3 incorrect answers. So it's really easy to do like a true and false format as well. And then last, you have here the creation tool. Again, this is what Rivet is at the end of the day. It's a quiz creation tool where you can drag and drop the order of questions. If you want to change things around, it's very, very easy. On the left-hand side, you can see that icon that has up and down arrows. You can edit the question. You can change the sound bites all over again, and then go into publishing it. Now, the free version allows you to create a minimum of 5 questions, which is 2.5 minutes long, to up to 10 questions. There's other versions and play, I would say, types of games that you can create that start as low as $30 a month, where you can change up how you want the quiz to look like. If you want it to be more of a continuous play, if you want to actually select and edit the in and out points of your soundbite, so it's not restricted to only 15 seconds, you can do that as well. And then that's about it. I think I did skip along. If anyone has questions, you can easily, let me see, reach out to me. Here's my email. Oops, I really jumped. I hope it was showing all the other stuff I was sharing. And if you have any questions, please feel free to also email me. There is on the website for video trivia games, you can easily create a demo, or it says demo request, but you could still request a meeting, and then through there they can get in contact with me. But right now we do have a promotion that if you sign up for 3 months, again, I was mentioning there's different packages that start as early as 30 months, but if you commit to 3 months to make sure that you really get this campaign off the ground, you will get 1 hour of my time to help you establish your campaign strategy and the content you need. Again, thank you so much for attending this webinar, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.